All right, back live tonight. You're in Focus, and thanks for staying on. ANC Youth League has accused the National Student Financial Aid Scheme of incompetence and neglect for its failure to support countless of vulnerable students. It has recently revealed that NSFAS collectively owes private student housing operators 260 million rands in rent. And for more on that conversation and the dissolution of the board, we're joined now in studio by ANC Youth League President Collen Malatji. Good to have you finally, and thank you for coming in.
It has been long.
Yeah, it has been. Yeah. It has been. You've been busy on the campaign trail, and I'm sure one of the questions that you would need to answer is this one of the ineffectiveness, really, in the arena of higher education and the constant instability that has been plaguing the sector for many years. So this thing is nothing new. But let's talk about how we end up having a divided, non-performing board. Let's just start there.
I think before we go far, we must first agree that NSFAS was one of the most best interventions by the ANC to resolve problems of students, to make sure that while we're still on the issue of free education for all, at least there is an intervention coming in place to assist the poor of the poorest to access education. And anyone who tampers with that, tampers with the program of the ANC. We were the first, anyway, to take you back, to call upon the minister, if you remember, if you can go back, to fire the board and administration of NSFAS and everybody else that has to do with the delay of what is been designed to resolve socio-economic problems of the poor of the poorest. Yeah. And we even went further to say, if the minister does not fire the board of NSFAS and does not fire the administrative of the NSFAS because of corruption, evidence of corruption, delay of, you can't have a system that is over 10 years, that it can't even pay residences, there's fights over service providers who must deliver what. That's only corruption. Yeah. I'm saying we gave them solutions also. We went further to say that there's Post Bank, there's African Bank, which is owned 75% by the PIC, to be able to deliver all of these things, because these are state-owned institutions which their obsession, it is not maximization of profit. Give them the responsibility to deliver to the youth, because the youth must get money for residences, the youth must get money for food, the youth must... It's a commitment the ANC has made to the youth of South Africa. Now, you can't retreat from that commitment. And it's a commitment to ready to defend and make sure it happens moving forward. Now, it's not a favor. It's what we've agreed we must deliver to them. Yeah. We'll take them to school, want them to be educated, because we have a clear program of making sure that there's economic freedom now, not later. All and they must be the driver.
So you're saying, at the heart of why this board is unable to function is corruption. At the heart of the incompetence that would have been outlined by the minister, of the simple things that he has asked them to do and so on and so forth, is the fact that there's some corruption that is going on. Now, the challenge is, Outer has flagged the minister himself of being involved in what they call corruption that is happening at the board. So, but it seems the minister is escaping the hammer while we are chopping the board. So nothing will really get resolved if that's the case.
Look, the Youth League were anti-corruption. Yeah, we fight anyone who's involved in corruption. We don't want to be loved for that. But if Alta feels that the minister is corrupt, they must go and give the evidence to the institutions of the state that must investigate him and charge him. And the moment he's investigated and found of corruption, we're going to be the first to call for his removal. You are not going to play around, but we're not going to allow people to say that we made a call to the minister to dissolve the board and then to administration resolve that. Also the board, we're using it as a scapegoat, to be honest, if we're to be honest. The real problem in any administrative matter, whether it's government, local, provincial, national, is the administrative, because they are the ones with the authority to administer the government to move forward. The democracy on how it's designed in the country, it has separated powers. Politicians resolve on policy, play oversight. But the real implementers are not those that you attack every day. Are those that are there, who entered through their CVs, who were expected to be over-educated to resolve socio-economic problems. That's why I'm of the strong view, and I stick by it every day, that anywhere in the world, it's only in South Africa where we're just too democratic. Yeah. There is no ruling party that deploys people in government who don't believe in their policies and manifesto and expect them to implement. They'll sabotage you. Right. I've always said that the Mandela days of, yes, it was an important day to unite the nation and do all of those things, but the reality is that to advance the revolutionary agenda, you need administrators who believe in the agenda of the ruling party.
Yeah.
It can't be that we just employ you because we love you here, we saw you here today, you have a good CV. Yes, we've got people who are educated, who've got good CVs, who understands what the ruling party wants to achieve. Because people vote for the manifesto of the ruling party. People hold who are accountable, the ruling party, when there is no service delivery, when there is no work.
Yeah.
Now, why must the ruling party not deploy people who are responsible, who understands that they must implement, and who are well educated on the manifesto, on top of their master's degrees and their PhDs, but they understand the agenda is to implement the manifesto of the ANC.
But then this thing of incompetent people, incapable people on the boards has been cited so many times. It came up in the Zondo Commission, the ANC saying we've been, in a sense, unable to deploy the best amongst us to go to these boards. Hence, so many challenges at SOEs and so on and so forth. Doesn't seem that you've been able to deal with that.
Look, unlike other political parties, we have the responsibility to deliver. Because we've been given a responsibility to deliver over years, confidence by the voters of South Africa. Now, in the process of delivery, what happens is that you identify certain skills that you need to implement. And when you go to that level, then you get disappointed. Because people that you've identified, sometimes you expect them to rise the bar to a level that you think that will respond to the demand of our people of South Africa. People get there, they saw big budgets, they become opportunistic. Now, countries like China and other countries, there's what we call consequence management. And we engage the ANC that the country must know that there is a consequence. You make a mistake, decisive decisions must be taken against you. Yeah. So that everyone who takes responsibility knows that I'm entering in this thing. Any little mistake I make against the people of South Africa, because when you enter the coffers of South Africa and steal from the poor, you are stealing from the people of South Africa. Now, any mistake I do, the government of South Africa will act on us. I know we've agreed on a consensual democracy, where you're innocent until proven guilty, and people can just steal and be for 15 years going to court as long as they have money to pay for lawyers. I think the system we must revisit. Because it can't be that a person that we know, but this person, there's evidence here that is stealing from the poor every day. Yeah. We said he must build a bridge. Yeah. He has not built a bridge. Yeah. We said he must put water. He has not put water. We said, but we were saying that no, he's innocent until proven guilty. But there's no water there. But the money is left.
I asked this to the NSFAS spokesperson in NYC. I said, how do you not follow something as simple as a recommendation from Mismanagement? You hired them. You said, do a forensic investigation. They did a forensic investigation. They come up with a report. They say these fintech companies are a problem. All of them must terminate these contracts. Right? They were not properly procured. They didn't follow the proper channels. But you can't do it. Even now, you can't seem to terminate that contract. What's the problem?
No, the problem is corruption. There's no any other problem. That's why people must be arrested. The president must come in. It's a big issue. We can't. We are not going to gamble with what the ANC has committed to the people of South Africa. We've committed to the youth that will take them to school. We're not going to allow people that we've delegated through the voters' power, because the voters voted for us, to lead on their behalf. Now, we're not going to allow it that through the voters' power, the ANC takes a blame for a corruption that is not done. The president must act on the people that they must be arrested, because the report says, look, this thing is not new. We knew a year ago that these fintech companies that are supposed to provide financial services to the youth are not compliant, they have no capacity. And we knew. It was announced along. If you can go back to your media briefing, it was long announced. We wake up a year later with a crisis of a month or 2 months of not payments of students in certain areas who are told that it's because of the same companies. We're not going to tolerate that. We told the minister that is not going to be tolerated by us. We're not going to take collective responsibility for something the ANC has instructed you against. The ANC is not part of this corruption. It's individuals that have been deployed, and the ANC government, given responsibility by the people of South Africa, must act, because people of South Africa want a government that acts. And they are just lucky maybe because the old guard takes long to act. I think when our time comes, it will not even take 7 days, because people must see action. Our people say we love the ANC. The ANC has built us houses. The ANC has built us schools. The ANC has given us NSFAS. The ANC has resolved many other issues. The ANC has put affirmative action, triple PE. It's trying its level best, but the problem we are faced with as the ANC is not able to monitor and evaluate your programs that you are faced with. And when you don't do that, individuals take ownership of those programs as their own family entities, and they put corruption into it.
So how confident are you that the administrator will be able to work independently? Hearing from the minister a little bit earlier on, it seems there are a lot of things that the administrator will have to do in consultation with the minister.
We don't want an administrator who works independent here. We want an administrator who consults the people of South Africa, stakeholders, consults everyone, consults the ruling party on what must happen. We don't want an administrator. The problem is that we want things that are not supposed to be independent. When they collapse, you want to blame the ruling party for their collapse, but you are saying they must be independent. No. An administrator must be able to consult all stakeholders, even the opposition parties if he wants to consult. There are opposition parties who've got good ideas, anyway, on how to resolve problems. That's how the ANC is designed. The ANC is not designed to say fight everything the opposition comes. It says that if the opposition brings good ideas on how we can govern these institutions properly, let's work with them. Let's get the ideas and move. Because the ANC, anyway, there's no political party in South Africa that is not led by people who are trained by the ANC. I can say 90% of the people who are in opposing parties, either the ANC kicked them out because of ill-discipline, or because of corruption, or they've got problems, or they just want to go to parliament and occupy the seat, and they feel the ANC route is a long route. But most of them, you'll find that they came through the ANC first and left to other political parties. Now, most of them, some of them have got good ideas that we can use to build this country moving forward. Because the ANC trains. It's an institution. It trains. It's an own organization that has got COSAS, SASCO. No one arrives in the ANC by mistake. If you arrive by mistake, we'll just see you even by your behavior. And we'll tell you will not even last because you will not understand how the institution operates. Now, in simple terms, the biggest problem we're faced with here is corrupt officials. It's corrupt officials who believe that the political mandate given to politicians to resolve socio-economic problems, it is not as important as filling the stomachs.
So, speaking of filling the stomachs, one would say Collen has certainly changed his tune. Maybe it's because maybe they called you and they said to you that don't be so harsh on the minister. Because previously you would have really been strong and saying, well, the minister must go. And you seem to have mellowed down on that messaging now, where you are more accommodating and want to give him a chance. What changed?
We called upon the minister to, if you remember our statement, fire the board, deal the administration. Failure to, you must go. If you remember, that was our message. Has the minister not fired the board and put in administration in NSFAS?
Yeah.
Now, what do you mean there's a change of heart? The reality is that a lot of ministers, that the term is ending. There's a new cabinet, going to be election. When the ANC wins, on the 1st of, on the 29th, on the 1st, if the election is 1st or 3rd, the ANC will win the elections. After they win the election, they'll appoint a new cabinet. They'll tell the president, you can't put this one, we've assessed them. We feel that they're lazy and you can't put this one. You can't be dealing with that now. Now we're dealing with problems of making sure that we resolve all problems and remind our people that why they must continue to vote for the ANC and apologize for mistakes that we've made. I said here and here, we've committed to fix the matter. We've deployed people to fix it. They're not fixing it. We've acted on them. We're coming with intervention to resolve it. That's the ANC that I'm part of.
So before you leave, give me intervention on the payment system. What do you think needs to happen to fix the payment system?
I gave you intervention in my opening when we engaged. One is that the Post Bank is running as a commercial bank. People are losing jobs now. We're told Post Bank are retrenching. No. Capacity of the Post Bank, bring back those people back to work. Make sure that those institutions are utilized as a bank to assist and resolve government problems. Part of that is the wish of NSFAS. Put the payments there. Put SASA there. Take government salaries, put it there. Empower it deliberately so that the Post Bank can be able to loan black businesses, can be able to loan black people resources on low interest rates. Because the top banks we have in South Africa today, they only loan the white males on low interest rates, and they make it impossible for black people to access business loans and schooling loans and anything else that has to do with that thing, because they don't have that agenda. It is not their responsibility. But if you have a Post Bank set up by a progressive government, they know they have a responsibility to reverse the apartheid legacy and install and make sure the majority of South Africans are full participants in their own economic activities of their country. It needs a deliberate program. It does not need a meeting. It needs a president. It needs a minister of finance. It needs everyone who participates to say that we are redirecting resources to to banks that respond to our issues. I'm telling you, if you want to open Newzroom Afrika yourself, you won't get a loan tomorrow. But if you want to buy a car, a sports car, with your salary, they'll give you immediately. They'll call in the morning, come and approve with the same amount, but you won't get it for opening a business as a black person in South Africa. That must be addressed, because the old banks that funded apartheid or got funding from apartheid, they're clear that they're not disciplined. They operate the way they want. They have their own agenda, and their own agenda is to empower the minorities in South Africa.
Collen Malatji, appreciate your time. Thank you very much for coming in. That's the president of the ANC Youth League there, Collen Malatji. Right.